Hey guys, welcome to the shop where we talk about frequently asked questions and tips and tricks to make sure that you get the most out of your Redline bow hunting gear. My name is Wess Brown, field producer and resident bow technician for Redline Bowhunting, and today we're going to be talking about stabilizers. Now there's tons of combinations that we could talk about when it comes to stabilizers, but I'm going to try to keep this video short and brief and kind of leave it up to you to figure out what's best for your setup. Now I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Utilize your pro shop or one of our trusted dealers that you can find on our website. It is very important because they have the tools and the knowledge to make sure that you get the most out of everything that you're going to put on your setup. And stabilizers are no different. I spend a lot of time shooting my bow without any stabilizers on them, and I add different types of combinations between weights, front and back bar, angles of my back bar, angles of my front bar to figure out what makes me the best shooter. Now I do have some bad habits that I try to fix when it comes to how I put my stabilizers on, and I also run a quiver on my bow, so I have to sometimes counterbalance that depending on the situation I put myself in. Now when it comes to our stabilizers, we offer 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch stabilizers. Today on my setup I have a 12-inch stabilizer on my front with 2 1-ounce weights, and I am running a back bar which has 3 1-ounce weights, which is 8 inches. Now if you look, we offer a back bar quick attachment, so what to do is make a slight move and I'm able to take this back bar cleanly and quickly off. Now this is pretty useful if you're going to put your bow into a case that maybe does not allow for a back bar to poke out, but it's really easy to put right back on, and you tighten it and you're done. Another great thing about the back bar and its quick attachment here is that you have these different lines that you can measure exactly where you have your back bar angled, whether it be outward, inward, up, down, however it is. And you can even mark it with a marker or whatever. So if you are going to shoot 3D, maybe you'll have this set up a little bit different because you don't have a quiver on it, or maybe you want it differently for a smaller back bar at one point if you're going to go out west, if you're going to hike into some public land, and maybe you needed a different angle if you have a different quiver, if you're going to run a 3 quiver for whitetail or you're going to run a 6 arrow quiver for elk. So it really gives you a lot of versatility to be able to move this around depending on what type of setup you want to use. Another great thing about it is I have it attached here on the back part of this bow, mainly because I like how I can put the weight a little bit further back. But you can also use this quick attachment up front to where you screw in your front bar into that, and then it'll allow you to still have that back bar. So some bows may not have an option to screw in this quick attachment bracket on the back, so you'd have to put it on the front. So this allows you to still have a back bar even though your bow doesn't really have that capability. Some other added benefits of our stabilizers is they do have this dampening system at the end. It's just almost just like a rubber sleeve. And I can tell you that even though this is the PSE Evo XF33, new for 2022, it is very quiet and it is very dead in the hands. But when I added the front and back bar, mainly the front bar, it did take quite a bit of hand shock out, which, I say quite a bit, but it did take something out of it, at least in my head. And then it also kind of took the noise down a little bit. Now, there are some people that kind of laugh at me when I say that, but as far as I'm concerned, it did that for me in my head. And when it comes to archery for me, it's 90% mental. But anyway, I'm not going to go into a whole lot more. I just want you guys to go ahead and do as much combinations as possible of front and maybe a back bar, or different sizes up front, different sizes in the back, to figure out what works best for you. It's taken me a lot of years to figure out what works best for me in my particular setups, whether it be my 3D bow, my indoor range bow, or my hunting bow. It's taken me a lot of time to sit there at the range and shoot my bow without a stabilizer on it just to see what it's doing. Now, I'll just tell you what I did and what I looked for when I was applying my stabilizers, and then you can kind of figure out how to do it for yourself. Now, for my setup, what I did is I shot my bow quite a few times without any stabilizers on it whatsoever. And I tried to figure out what the bow wanted to do naturally. And for me, with this bow naturally wanted to kind of jump forward and fall down. Now for me, I don't like that. I like my bow to sit perfectly vertical in my hands, one, when I'm at full draw, and two, after I release my arrow. I kind of have a problem with dropping my bow arm, which kind of turns into low shots for me. And if my bow can stay nice and straight up, it kind of reminds me that I need to keep my bow arm out as long as possible, or at least until I hear that arrow hit the target. So something like that's just a really good reminder for me. Now, I run the RL1 6-arrow quiver on this bow in particular, and so what I did with my back bar is I had to, when I put my back bar on there, one, I wanted to make sure that it kept my bow nice and vertical in my hands after my shot, and I had to kind of counterbalance the weight that's added to the right side of my bow from my quiver, so that when I do draw, my bow doesn't want to keep tilting to the right because of that added weight. So I added the back bar, one for the verticalness in my hand after the shot, and to counterbalance the quiver on the right hand side of my bow. What's really nice about modern bows is they're just getting lighter. Most all bows are sub 5 pounds, and which means that you can put the weight where you want it. Now we have a lot of options to be able to put one weight up front, or maybe 4 in the back. Whatever ends up being comfortable for you, you have that option. And if you're running a Redline sight, we actually have some of the lightest sights on the market today, so you're really not adding a whole lot of weight when you're utilizing our sights, because they are light and you're able to put the weight where you want them. So with all that said, guys, and without getting in too many other rabbit holes, I'm just going to leave it up to you guys to figure out what's best for you and your setup, and kind of run with it. I suggest buying a front and a back bar and of 2 different sizes, and you can run just the front bar or maybe just the back bar and try to figure out what combination works best for you. If you guys want any further information and further detail about stabilizers, shoot us an email and tell us what you want to know, and maybe we can help you along the way. Now, if you liked what you've seen here today, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you later.